Okay, so let's draw a fox, one of my absolute favorite animals to create. And unlike what we did with the cardinal, we didn't exactly stick to reality, but this time we're going to go even like farther off the reality trail. So often or most of the time when I draw a fox, I kind of make them rather whimsical. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the idea of a fox and make him more whimsical when we draw him. So we're going to do something similar to this little guy, something along the lines of this, but we'll use a photograph that I also found on Unsplash to kind of guide us. So in this picture, the fox has more of an elongated face, but when I draw my foxes, I typically start out with, I'm going to turn this upside down. I typically start out with an oval going this way. So almost like you took a circle and squished it. So this is going to be the beginning shape of our fox head, is this kind of flattened out oval, flattened out circle that looks like an oval. So from there, I start by giving him the top of his head. So I'm starting out, of course, kind of lightly. This is going to be the top of his head, and here's where his ears will come out. At this point too, I typically will draw a very, very light line splitting the oval in half this way and another splitting it in half this way. So I've got this cross section here that's going to guide me as I create the face. So the ears, I typically give them these kind of wild, pointy ears, a little more whimsical than what you might see in nature, although some foxes really do have these wild, crazy shaped ears. So I make mine a little pointy, and the ear will come down a little further. You can see it in the real picture here. So he's got all this fur, so the ears come down a little farther than the top of his head. So when I get to the face, I'm going to come just out from that middle section and just put two indications of where the corner of his eyes are going to sit. So this is going to be the bridge of his nose. So I go ahead and start drawing that down. This is his snout. And when I get down to the bottom here, close to the bottom, is when I'm going to go ahead and add his nose. So the nose shape is a little bit of an arc at the top, and then two lines that come together almost like you're drawing a triangle. So just a little more curved than that. So go ahead and give him his little nose. And typically I do make fox noses. They're kind of small. And then from there, from the bottom of the nose, he's got what is the beginning of his little mouth. So I draw that and connect the snout to the mouth. Already looking like a cute little fox. So from here, I'm going to come back up to the eyes. Now what I do is give him eyebrows. So I know that foxes don't actually have eyebrows, but they do have a brow line. So I go ahead and draw that in kind of as a guide. And then underneath that, I start with the eyes. And I typically give them an eye shape that is like our eye shape, and almost like an almond. And here's a trick that I learned when drawing eyes for any animal. So when you're drawing an animal that's facing you, or a human, you want to do each line on each side as you go. So in other words, don't draw the whole eye on one side and then try to replicate it on the other. You do one line at the time. So I'm going to draw that top part, and then I'll draw this top part. I'm going to draw in the eyeball, and then I'll draw the eyeball over here as well. I'm going to put in the bottom of the eye, on that side and the bottom on this side. So you kind of want to do it in stages. It really helps with keeping things in line. And once again, I'm putting in that little circle that will indicate a light source, so like this. And even though this is just our preliminary sketch, I just like to go ahead and color the eye in because it makes him look cute, more alive. And I will typically go ahead and color in the nose as well. So now we can erase some of these unwanted lines. So erasing my middle section line there and the part where his ears come in. So from the ear, at the bottom of the ears is where I'll start bringing this. As you can see, foxes have this white section that extends from their mouth out to their sides. This little guy has it too. It's just that we're going to make ours a bit more pronounced. So I go ahead and put those little tufts in and give it some jagged tufts coming out from the side. And then the top, I'll go ahead and pull down from the top to the snout. Go ahead and give him some interior to his ears. And you can see how I'm just kind of making these as if he has fur, so no really straight lines, just indicating that he's got some fur. And he needs his little bottom lip as well. And that's pretty much it. You've now got a fox face. And the cool thing is they will come out different each time. So obviously we know it's a fox, but they all have their own little personality. So it's really a lot of fun to create these. And you really, once you get the hang of it, you can do it without looking at a picture. Because really you're going to follow the same design each time. But like I said, they'll each have their own little personality. So for his body, they've got this tuft in the front here that is typically a lighter color. So I like to go ahead and put that in. So I'll start at about this point to create this little mane of hair. And it's wider at the top, of course, and then it kind of comes down to a point like this. And then from there, I'm drawing one foot, or one leg is going to come from here, the other this way, almost like he's in a vase almost. So, and you don't have to get too careful about these legs. Just kind of play around with the placement till it feels right. And then if you can look the back side of the fox, the way I did it here and on this guy too. So they have this kind of funny shape. Most foxes have this, they got this really big hump in their back, just the way that their spinal system works. So I kind of accentuate that. And so I bring one hump out and then another hump as well. And you kind of have to, like you can see from this one, it might be a little bigger up here than it needs to be. So this is why we sketch first. I might want to have that be more of a mane, and then maybe he's a little smaller. So I can make that line a little less protruding. That looks a little better to me. So that's his back. This is where his tail is going to come from. So the tail, this is my secret with the tail. I draw a big curve here. It's coming out from his back, but I always sweep it over his feet so that I don't have to draw his feet. That is the big secret, because feet are hard. So Foxtail hides the feet, win-win situation, because everybody wants to see his tail, his beautiful tail anyway, and your mind can make up the feet for you. So there's the tail. Then you can just give these two legs some definition there and play with your mane a bit if you need to. And voila, we have a fox. So from this point, after you have your sketch done, you can come back in